because so you will hear the tire noise. Certain things that you may not necessarily hear with a gas-driven car, because the engine will drown it out. With this, when you're not listening to the radio, it is truly, bank vault quiet. So
okay,
you will hear the cars next to you and whatnot.
So what kind of models are there? Like, there's Model S. This one is the Model S60.
Correct.
So what does that mean? Like, this is like a beginner model, the one we are sitting in, or?
So the S60, which is what we have here, this has been recently replaced with our 70D. So the 60 is a rear-wheel drive variant of the Model S with an average range of about 208 miles.
Okay.
With the 70D, it bumps the range up to 240 miles and is all-wheel drive standard. So it is a pretty nice, kind of jump in.
So I'm just wondering, if I have to drive to New York in this car, that will hardly make it there.
Well, we do have a pretty comprehensive network of chargers up and down the East Coast. You can actually drive, if you stick to I-90 right now, you can actually go from New York to LA if you wanted to. And what we do is we kind of try to space them about 70 to 150 miles apart,
okay,
and put them at major highway rest areas, malls, places that are very easy to get to right off the highway, and places that have some place to use the bathroom, if you wanted to grab a bite to eat, there's stuff to do. So because you will be there for about 30-35 minutes, and that should get you a pretty significant amount of charge back in that amount of time. You're looking at about 50% in 20 minutes. So
50% in 20
yes.
minutes. Oh, okay. So everything here seems electric, of course. Like the screen. Does this have like internet that comes in?
It does have internet built right in. It does have its own 3G connection, which is built into the car, free of charge for 4 years.
Okay.
And it is all accessible from the touchscreen, which is essentially functions similar to an iPad. It's a 17-inch tablet basically, and you do what you've X out of there. You have the 7 different apps right across the top.
Okay.
And some of them are customizable even further. Things like the calendar. You can set it up to show your calendar upon every time you get in the car, only in the morning or only in the evening or all the time. And then the media, things like that have different inputs, I guess you could call them.
So this is the camera is just the rear camera, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And you can drive with it on too. So that's a nice way to cover blind spots and whatnot in the car if you do have any. It is a high definition wide angle lens, so definitely a good way to get a different vantage point from behind the vehicle.
So, is this your most popular model, or?
Right now, it's usually the 85 kilowatt hour, so it's a Model S 85D. Tends to be our most popular currently, which that's going to get your greatest range. So that's usually kind of one of the main concerns when looking at an electric car is, how far can I drive? And there is range anxiety, we understand. It is definitely a real thing. Then you have the 70D, which would be kind of a level below that with 240 up to the 280, 270. Okay. And then you have the performance car, the P85D, and that's a 691 horsepower variant of the Model S, all-wheel drive. It's going to have slightly diminished range simply because it is using a bit more energy just to achieve that type of horsepower. So you get about 253 out of it, is kind of what the EPA's rated it for.
So I see that there's a trunk in the front and the back, so batteries are on the floor?
Exactly. So we're sitting on the battery pack, and it runs along the length of the car from pretty much between the axles.
Okay.
And it's it's a heavy part of the car, that's for sure. You do have over 7,000 little tiny, basically AA sized lithium-ion cells. But the way the car carries that weight and the way we've positioned it underneath the vehicle, it gives the car a lot of its handling characteristics. A lot of what really makes the car ride really quite well is because of that near 50-50 and 51-49 rate of front weight distribution with a 17-inch high center of gravity.
Runs pretty smooth and stable.
Yes, it's extremely.
It's going to be hugging the ground.
Oh yeah. You can take the corners a bit more aggressive than you would in some other types of cars, and then for cruising on the highways and stuff, incredibly smooth. It's really nice.
So what's the price range on the 70, the one is your basic model?
The 70 starts at 75,000.
75,000.
And that's before any sort of federal tax credits or state rebates.
Okay, so what does that mean? Like, what kind of rebates you can get, like, in numbers?
The federal tax credit is $7,500, and that's in all 50 states, and that would be on your federal tax return. So you'd get that back at the end of the year.
Okay.
And then, for instance, Massachusetts, each state, or some states have state incentives. Massachusetts has a $2,500 state instant rebate. So the way that would work out is after you take delivery of your car, you would you go to More EV, it's mor-ev.com. and fill out some personal information, put your VIN number in, basically just show proof of ownership, and they'll actually mail you a check for $2,500.
Oh wow,
That's pretty cool.
So that means basically 65. Does the taxes come after the rebate or before the rebate? So the taxes are going to be on 75, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's like 75 plus taxes minus 10, basically.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. Okay. What else is like a more attraction point? What do people mostly see in buying this car?
Again, it just depends really what you're looking for. The Model S is one of those. It's a very interesting car in the sense that it can replace anything. It can replace your SUV, it can replace your Porsche, and it can be your daily driver. It's very, very versatile in that sense.
The question that came in my mind was the batteries. What is their life, and what does it cost to replace the battery?
Well, the batteries are under warranty for 8 years without a mileage cap.
Okay.
And we're hoping, just like anything under warranty, they'll have those last quite a bit longer than that.
Okay.
Still kind of remains to be seen, as the car's only been out for just around 3 years now. Late 2012 is when they first
Okay.
came out. As far as replacement afterwards, again, it's tough to really put a hard number on that, but we'd like to see the price of the batteries come down consistently over the next
Yeah, no,
5
there's
to
something
8
going in the
years.
news about the battery plant. By
And that's,
Tesla,
yep,
yeah.
we're building the Gigafactory out in Reno, Nevada, and that's going to have kind of the dual purpose of maybe doing some R&D and kind of, advancing battery technology, but really it's going to be a place where we can produce far more batteries than we do now and easily lower the price. I mean, you're doing it by logistics, economies of scale, things like that. 'Cause currently, right now, they're coming from Panasonic.
Okay, so now the car itself, there's low. I mean, there's no gas expense. What about maintenance? What is there in maintenance, and how far apart you have to come in bring it for maintenance and stuff?
So for maintenance, we recommend you bring the car in once a year or every 12,500 miles. And again, it's only recommended maintenance. There is no required maintenance on the car outside of normal wear and tear items such as brakes and tires, windshield wipers. And that once a year service is really going to be a battery diagnostic check, go over the software, any sort of proactive maintenance we can do.
Okay.
We'll take care of that.
So there's no expected maintenance on motors. Anything can happen, but the thing is, basically, there's no scheduled maintenance on these things other than
Correct.
just diagnostic check.
Exactly.
And how much does it cost, and where's your facility to bring the car to?
So right now we do a 4-year prepaid plan if you'd like to do that, and it's $1,900 for 4 years of maintenance.
Okay.
And you would take it to currently in this area to Watertown,
Watertown, okay.
and then we should have a place in Dedham very soon,
Oh, okay.
right on the Auto Mile.
I heard that this car has automatic updates that it does and adds to the car.
Correct. So every few months you're going to get a software update, and it's anything that we can add to the car. I mean, here we're always trying to improve the vehicle in any way, and we take a lot of customer feedback very seriously. So, just a couple examples of things that we've added would be things like the calendar application, where a lot of customers were saying they'd like to see their calendar be pulled off of their smartphones once their smartphone is paired to the Model S. So it was very easy to add that in. It's basically just some software tweaking. And then we actually did one recently where we made the car faster. You know, the PD5D originally came out with a 3.20 to 60, made some slight adjustments to the acceleration algorithm, and it's now 3.1. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but you know,
But
when you do
it's
get down around
That's a
3,
lot for a fast car.
Exactly. When you're getting down to that point, you know, any a tenth of a second makes a big difference. So, very cool.
One other thing is like, is there some sort of packages come like within the car, or just car is pretty much standard in what you're getting? Or is there things to add on?
There are different packages.
Okay.
A lot of what you would need in the car, though, are already standard. Things like the technology package. You are going to get navigation and heated front seats, rear view camera. You know, a lot of almost all the safety features will be standard as well. Things like front collision alert and lane departure warning, blind spot monitoring, and speed limit warning. You know, if you do exceed, it'll let you know. Things that are optional would be convenience things, such as the autopilot, which there's actually a diagram right out here that kind of does a little explanation of how that works. And those are things that would be optional. Upgraded sound systems are optional. Certain aesthetic options are, such as the different rims, the different colors, leather. There's 2 different types of front seats. There's a executive rear seat option, which gives you 4-spot seating. Cold weather package, and then there's the rear
Spot seating?
Yes.
4 people can sit in the back.
No,
It-
total
it-
4, 2 seats.
2
in the
and
back.
2,
Oh.
rather than the 2 with 3. But then we do also have the rear-facing child seats, which people always are really surprised to see in a car like this, that it actually becomes a 5+2 seating.
Oh.
So, yeah, you put two small children in the back and stick them in the trunk, and
Like
they
in the
love it.
trunk?
Exactly.
Oh, is there a room there?
There is, yeah. It's really just for children who would otherwise be sitting in a booster seat.
Yeah.
And they, a lot of kids really think it's all sorts of really fun and neat to kind of be able to sit and look back at the other cars. and
Is
whatnot.
that legally allowed?
Oh
Like,
yes,
you can-
absolutely. Yeah.
So the car is like 5+ passengers, or how is that?
Five.
that
We call
rated?
it 5+2 seating. Yeah.
5+2 seating.
It would be 5 adults with 2 children.
Oh, wow, that's a surprise actually. That's a real
Yeah,
big
especially in
surprise.
a car that you look at and say, oh, it's very sporty looking. It doesn't look like maybe a station wagon or something like that, but you do have the same type of seating capacity.
So is the sunroof? This is pretty much standard. And
The sunroof is optional as well. It's our all-glass panoramic sunroof. So you do have the 2 halves. The front half is the sunroof. The back half is a moonroof. So this
okay.
is stationary, and that'll just go. The front half goes right up over the top half.
Okay,
And it
so-
blocks out 100% of UV and 81% of the heat that comes from the sun. So having a big giant sunroof like this, it's not gonna turn your
Don't
car
heat it up, okay.
into a
It's
100
bigger than
degree.
the Audi sunroof.
Okay, so we ready for the test drive?
We're ready.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's fun.